Welcome to One Word and Sophia pilot into the universe of Chinese. Let's continue exploring some Paleolithic uh, characters. And I'm pretty happy that I found these connections between very different concepts that actually have some common thread among them. Actually, all these characters that look similar, right? If you don't look closely, you probably get lost in here. But they all build by one singular Chinese character, which is 人, human. And when we pair two human characters, depends on how we place them, what's the orientation, then it forms different meaning. Okay, so recap. 2 days ago, we talked about follow, which is a leftward force facing human figures, front torso, back torso, and then the full package of human. And we have two of them facing left. Chinese is a left facing, equal forward facing culture. So English is the rightward pointing forward facing, and Chinese the reverse direction. Okay. So in this US China competition era, we can almost see like culturally, we just build going to different directions from the very beginning. Anyways, my point from yesterday is that this is totally arbitrary because we're in the universe, there's really no orientation. But as a culture, for all of us, all humans, to share a set of values, we have to set up a set of metrics, orientations, parameters, right? That's what I'm doing here to unpack the language, to discover things like this. This is embedded in there. I wouldn't have noticed such difference. So Chinese is a leftward facing culture. And because it's left means forward. So when two of them facing left together, just two guys, they are one following another, supposed to going to the same destination. They are moving, they're on the go. Okay, yesterday we are talking about compare, which is again two human figures, but they're facing right because Chinese is leftward facing as forward facing. So when they are facing left, it's like a bit swivel, turn around. And because that's not the destination, that's not a forward moving direction. So they basically stop right there and for you to compare them. Okay. Today, today's character, back to back. It's literally back to back because Chinese character have this shorter side, means the front side of the body, and the longer stroke means the back torso. And if you dig back a little bit to the script version of Chinese, the longer side is like English R. It has a curvature because our front is relatively flat. But if our back, we have our torso and butt, right? It all comes with curves. And all that was captured in Chinese. But because there are now two of them, their space in a frame got squished into half. So that details of curvature was skipped, was not expressed in here. Otherwise, it's too chaotic, right? So things got streamlined, simplified a little bit. We only are left with direction. That direction is obviously depicted. So now north is back to south. Okay, this is about Chinese again, default orientation. The default direction supposed to be south. Chinese campus translated in Chinese. I mean, not exactly translated because campus was invented in China, right? So we originated. And when we talk about refer to what is campus in Chinese, it's pointing toward the south needle. So that campus pointing toward the south, that's the direction you're supposed to go. That's the default direction. So Chinese is a south facing, left facing culture. Without doing this one word a day thing, I would never know that. Okay, so north is back to the default south. And just by showing literally back to back, we're showing this is backward facing toward the default direction, which is the north. Okay, a little bit cultural embedding, a little bit unpacking, but you get there. So here we have simplified and traditional both looking the same because again, they already came pretty simple. How can you further simplify that, right? No need for simplification in that case. So this is 北 expressions, 找不到北. Okay. Okay, this is almost like a counter argument of what I just said because I said south is the direction, the default direction. But here we're saying find not to north, which translating into grammatically correct English would be we cannot find the north. And we're supposed to find looking for south, right? But because north is the polar opposite of the south. So if you cannot find the north, you definitely cannot find south. But Chinese use 找不到北 to mean somebody who is clueless, who is new to this environment, and they are disoriented. They cannot find the north. And interestingly, even if a campus, we translate as a pointing south needle, when we're looking for directions, actually, in my mind, I would seek out north first instead of south. I don't know why. Probably because, I mean, we tend to orient without a compass by the stars, by finding that North Star, right? That probably is universal because that outer space star location is universal. That we can see. I mean, as long as in the North Hemisphere, I'm not sure North Star can be visible to the South Hemisphere Earthlings, but 找不到北 is a Chinese expression to say where we don't have the direction, we are disoriented. Okay, 北上广深 is each character represent the one of the in Chinese we call them tier 1 cities. So they are the most advanced, most important cities in China that has the biggest connections or influence in economic or political sense. Of course, political sense will be Beijing, right? And because they're the center of the politics, they are also center of power and wealth. So 北 means Beijing and 上 means Shanghai, right? So it's equivalent to English initials. We use just one letter to represent the whole word. And here, Chinese just use one character to represent the whole town. And because they are frequently used together, so we don't even need to guess what that is. It means that 4 top tier 1 cities in China. So Guang is Guangzhou. Here, because it's shorter, I didn't spell out Guangzhou, but Canton is the Cantonese spelling of Guangzhou. Okay, so this is Guang, and Shen is Shenzhen. Okay, 北大荒, north big wilderness. I mean, I never thought 北大荒when I translate it. North big wilderness. It's kind of poetic, don't you think so? That in terms of civilization, agriculture, humans farming is easier when it's temperate climate, right? And when it's further north in a cold, chill zone, then the plants are not going to grow that well, right? So then farming was less important, and that would be the herding culture over there because only small, short grasses can grow, and only the cattle can survive in that environment, and more sparse population over there. So by default, just by temperature zones, that further north part of China is not human friendly, agriculture friendly, human civilization friendly, low population density. And so it's north means wilderness, but it's a big piece of land. So we use that to imply that it's a big land mass that's underdeveloped. And that's 北大荒. And this concept was, or this pairing of the three characters to mean the northeast part of China, which is close to, if you can evoke Chinese map, it's the chickens or the rooster's head portion that is embedded in between Mongolia, Russia, and North Korea. So it's super, it's cold and it's also close to the old communist, former communist and current communist camp in there. And environmentally, that's relatively underdeveloped comparing with the middle land, which in China means the Huanghe Yellow River region, where the agriculture gets more advanced, better resources, higher density of population. So Beidahuang during that time of just after the founding of CCP's China, that People's Republic of China, um, that was defined as Beidahuang, that big piece of wild, underdeveloped land that the government, the central government, was promoting people to migrate to develop it. And that was the era, probably the first decade after the establishment of the new regime, so in the 1950s. Lots of families from the middle part of China or the more temperate weather zones or climate zones moved to the north to develop that area. So that's Beidahuang. Here is a still frame from a movie about the Beidahuang development. And these are military guys, actually, that probably families was, at the beginning, probably it was even harder for families to move to. So military was the first, I guess, pioneer in a sense to build this land to make it as more habitable. And eventually the families moved up there. So that's Beidahuang. There you go, Bei. Thank you for your time. See you another day.